Hello and welcome to another AIC video. I wanted to do a follow-up video on my Lenovo ThinkPad T495. I've had it now several weeks and I've been using it nearly daily for what I bought it for, which is as a backup work machine as I travel around. And so I have it set up and using it for the things I need it to. And I have enjoyed it, but I really also bought it because, well, for several reasons. One, I was thinking of getting a T480 that's kind of like the big laptop that I think is one of the most popular ThinkPads you can buy. And with that popularity, unfortunately, comes with a little bit of an elevated price. So I wanted to see if I bought bought this particular system, if I could get a better deal for my money, just because I was able to buy it for quite a bit less than a T480 can be purchased for at this time. The prices have skyrocketed quite a bit for those in the last year, almost double with it, I think, than what they were about a year ago. But I wanted to do a little bit of a comparison against the machines we have on either side. Uh, it kind of sits between these two machines. On the left is a Dell Latitude, and on the right is a Dell Latitude. This one happens to have a Core i7 8650U. This one has a Core i7 10510U, and so they are Core i7s, where my T495 has a Ryzen 5 Pro 3500U. So all U series processors, this is more the i5 version. It's a Core, a Ryzen 5. These are a little bit faster CPUs. This one does have dedicated video, has an MX 550. And comparing them across the board, let me bring up the benchmarks here. I was kind of confused and surprised on the CPU performance between these two. So when I do the CPU mark, this one gets a better score. Not massively better, but a better score. But when I do Cinebench, this one gets the better score. Again, not massively, but a little bit better. CPU on Passmark is 7080, and on uh, Cinebench it is 3260. On here, I've run it a few times, and I get about the same score for a CPU mark. We get 7852. My last run with this is a little bit on the low side at 2989. I was around just over 3,000 points previously on this. The 10th gen Core i7 obviously does better than both of those at a Cinebench of 3436 and a CPU mark of 6378. So this one definitely sits between the two as far as pass mark goes. Another place where this sits between, obviously, is the 3D mark. This one gets a score just over 1,000. This one gets not quite double the score at 1864, and this one at 2608. So the difference between these two is actually less than the difference between these two. So I'm not quite sure how that translates for other people. But what I did is I went ahead and hooked up my Xbox controller to here, and we will play a couple of games and kind of see how it does. All right, we'll go ahead and try playing a couple rounds of this. So it looks like we're getting about 23 frames per second right now. I have the little frame counter up here in the upper corner. My experience so far with gaming on this has not been great. It's about as good as it is on the 8th gen i7 I have. It's really not much better. So I know a lot of people say that the Ryzens have better graphics performance. It must be much newer versions of the Ryzen CPUs with the integrated graphics, because my experience has not been so great on here. Looking at about 34, 35 frames per second right now. We'll see how well I do on this round. It's been probably 6 months since I last played this, so don't expect greatness. What we're doing right now really is just seeing if it's good enough to where I feel like I can be somewhat competitive. Oh. Oh. I am not doing well, but that has nothing to do with the with the frames for a second. So let's go ahead. Now that I've been eliminated, we'll go ahead and leave the game, and we will load up the next game here. All right, so we went ahead and loaded up Power World. Let me change my options here. Oh. All right, so it's hard to see our frame rate there, but it looks like we're in the mid 20s, not hitting 30 FPS. See if we can change our settings and get that to be a little bit better. The response time is pretty low. We're on very low graphics settings already. Yeah, response time on this is pretty awful. Didn't change a whole lot there. We're still not getting great FPS. So definitely not something I want to play on this system with any kind of regularity. Let's go ahead and boot up the next game. All right, so we have Grand Theft Auto on here. It's running at 30 frames a second. We're not going to play. We're actually going to go ahead and just run the benchmarks. So hit tab and enter. Enter. There we go. And we're getting about 30 frames a second. I do have it set to a lower resolution than the screen. I have it set to 1366 by 768 in attempts to give it as much ability to run this as possible and not look just awful on the screen. I think it looks okay. My camera really doesn't like it switching. But I think that's good enough. It's about 30 frames per second in this game as you're playing it. Let's go ahead and check out the next game. All right, we're going to have create a new Minecraft world. I actually haven't played Minecraft on this system yet, so I actually don't know what it will look like and how it will play. It's a pretty quick load. Oh wow, I don't think I want that much information on there. Well, looks like we'll just have to deal. See, controls. I have my controller plugged in. Well, let me use it. Doesn't look like it. All right. So frames are jumping around between, I think I've seen as high as 45, 47, and as low as 16. It's always a little bit slow when it's first loading up the world, which it is currently doing. We can help with some of that by going to options, video settings. We can change the graphics to fast. Yeah, we'll do fast. Render distance will drop to 10 chunks. Turn off VSync, smooth lighting. We'll do the clouds fast. So just a couple changes there, done. And then we are, you know, now we're in over 100 frames per second. That is pretty darn smooth. Let's go ahead and see if we get it to load a new chunk. Let's run off into the distance a bit. See what it drops to. Looks like it's drawn in those chunks just fine without too much of a dip in frame rate. A little bit of one, but not too bad. Nothing that would cause me to have my video gameplay interrupted. Let's go ahead and bring up those frame counters again. Yeah, because like right now we're running at 116 frames a second. So yeah, if you want to play Minecraft on here, drop the graphics down just a touch. Seems to play great. I'm very happy with that actually. And just a little bit of stuttering when it draws a new chunk, which is pretty typical to be honest. Yeah, it's dropped down to 60 frames a second from 116. I think that's pretty acceptable. Anyways, I think that's it for now. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, anything else you'd like me to test out on here, let me know. Hopefully I did a wide enough gamut of games to give you an idea of what you are looking at if you're wanting to buy this for gaming. It is not a laptop I would necessarily buy strictly for gaming. It's definitely not meant for that, but you know, give you an idea if that's what if that's one of the things you're wanting to do on this system. Anyways, hope that answers some questions. Thank you for watching. Hope you have an amazing day.